Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. As today, with our business in Winterscale's realm once again complete, we set our sights back on Dargonis, and from there towards Kava Gamma. Though we do have some other bookkeeping I have to tend to first. We have a couple of NPCs to visit, we have some planet scan data to drop off. So we'll take it one step at a time. See if anything pops up en route. Okay, so far so good. Now to Dargonis. Oh. Your lordship, I humbly ask that you grace me with an audience. I simply must inform you of a series of outrageous breaches of discipline that threaten to dissipate the dynasty's coffers. Oh, well, that was quick. Yeah, I think we can all guess who this is related to. Alright, well, you know, I would love to have a space cat, but there's only so much I'm going to tolerate. But who knows, maybe I'm misreading this. Your lordship, I must report systematic and flagrant attacks on the dynasty's coffers, perpetrated by your companion, Mistress Haydari. The Emperor as my witness, the worst rumors of her thieving ways prove to be a significant understatement of the reality. That's quite a bold accusation, Danrock. What exactly has she done? She is extorting bribes and oblations, gifts, favors, for herself in particular. She is exploiting rumors of a connection between, herself and your lordship to unscrupulously gather bribes from all and sundry, hinting at how displeased your lordship will be to hear if anyone is being uncooperative. I myself have found myself the victim of her attacks with particular frequency, due to my position. I see. I mean, that makes it sound more like she's stealing from other people, not from me. How much exactly has this cost me so far? Surprised by the question, Danrock vacillates before saying, on a protectorate-wide scale, the astronomical sum she has extorted from us seems negligible and not worthy of notice. Nevertheless, I cannot help but be outraged by her blatant exploitation of your goodwill. Okay, well that is very much not a straight answer. So now I question why you actually brought this to me. I'll tell you what. Let's get Jai in here. We'll see what she has to say about all this. You wish to see me, Shireen? She bestows a dazzling smile upon you, and a look of pure contempt on Danrock. Jai, it has been brought to my attention that apparently you're leveraging our fledgling partnership to solicit bribes and gifts from the crew. Is this true? Bribes? What ashmag besmirched their worm-eaten lips with such a scurrilous lie? Actually, don't tell me. I don't even want to hear their blackened name. I have never demanded bribes from any of your vassals. But I have willingly accepted the gifts they have offered. Is that a crime? Mistress Haydari is quibbling over semantics. She may not demand anything directly, but she drops heavy hints. Perhaps this isn't about hints, but the habits of a rotten, venal soul, accustomed to doling out bribes left and right, and thereby draining the dynasty's treasury. I'd be curious to know, Danrock, how much of the Von Valancius fortune you have squandered by handing out bribes to people who did not ask for them. Okay, so this is clearly a personal dispute between these two idiots that Danrock saw fit to drag me into the middle of. Well, Jai, do you really have need of all these unsolicited gifts? Are you not receiving sufficient compensation from the partnership we have so recently established? I am a businesswoman, Shireen. I extract profit from everything. It's in my nature. When a desert lion catches the scent of blood, he will eat even if his belly is full. For who knows when the next feast will come? And besides, what girl doesn't like receiving gifts? Jai lowers her abashed gaze to the floor. Fair enough. I suppose I can't really act surprised. I knew what you were before I invited you in. But still, the high factotum is concerned that your exploitation of these privileges is working to the detriment of the crew. The high factotum should try to worry less. It's not good for that slanderous little heart that pumps blood around his ungrateful carcass. But I am surprised he was not worried before when he showered me with generous gifts the moment I arrived on board. Of course, I will not accuse him of trying to buy my favor. The factotum's face changes color to match his jacket, whose collar suddenly appears to be digging into his flabby throat. However, the source of these blessings dried up as soon as he learned of our connection, Shireen. I considered it profoundly wrong that our affection should have had such an unhappy effect on my material well-being. Therefore, I took it upon myself to remind the high factotum of his previous largesse. Right, and I notice a distinct lack of denial on Danrock's part. So the impression I'm getting here is that he was using my treasury to try to win Jai's favor when she first arrived, but then stopped as soon as she got too close to me, which she then leveraged against him for fear that I'd find out what he had been doing, and then he tried to get ahead of it by approaching me with his own particular spin on the situation to try to cast himself in a more sympathetic light. And I mean, honestly, again, I can't really be too disappointed with either of these idiots. They're both doing what they were essentially expected to do. You don't move into a position of financial power in the Warhammer 40k universe without being an opportunistic scoundrel. That said, I think in this particular case, while I kind of wish there was ultimately a more neutral approach, one where I could kind of scold both of them or just tell them to both go deal with it themselves, since they do seem to be forcing me to pick a side, I guess I'll say I'm more disappointed in Danrock for trying to drag me into his personal dispute in the first place, even if it does ultimately involve my money. Not that I really necessarily want to encourage Jai either, but yeah, I'll stick to my initial gut response. Danrock, I have more important things to do than be dragged into your petty personal affairs. Deal with it yourself. The high factotum lets out an incoherent burble, sweeps into a deep bow, and hastily beats a retreat. With a vicious smile, Jai remarks in his wake, "Who would ever trust the word of a man who douses himself in perfume to cover up his body odor? Everyone knows that that is a sure sign of a soul prone to deceit." Yeah, don't push your luck, Jai. I don't really find you particularly endearing in this situation either. But I suppose I am willing to tolerate a certain degree of cattiness, so as you were. Let's see if there's any follow-up real quick, then we'll be on our way. Oh, Heinrichs, what's going on over here? Some sort of summoning circle? The drawing on the bulkhead of the bridge looks relatively recent, and you certainly gave no order for it to be done. You do not recognize the whimsical symbols. With some effort, you manage to make out that the interweaving lines are intricately stylized letters, and you think you have encountered them before. It is a language from somewhere in the Calixi sector. Helmsman Ravor, what am I looking at here? What is this? Ravor comes over and remarks in his usual gloomy tone. Mistress Adari's shenanigans. She gave the order for this thing to be painted. God Emperor is my witness. I haven't got a clue what it is. But I don't like it. Jai, you want to explain this? Jai looks at the drawing, grinning smugly. Do you like it, Shireen? I think it fits in wonderfully with its surroundings. I mean, that really depends on exactly what it is. Which I notice you've yet to actually tell me. It's a phrase in a dialect from Efreet. It says, Valin carries in his chest a heart that passion has woven with Jai's heart. May their affection burn blindingly bright for the glory of the Exalted One. It is a loose translation of the most famous love poetry from my world. Okay, I guess that's very romantic. But why here in particular? And why not at least center it? Because why here? So that these proud words will inspire your officers. They will perform great deeds and overcome the most fearsome enemies under the banner of our love. Pleased with herself, Jai looks at you with a mischievous grin. Okay, so this is... You really can't help yourself, can you? This is just how it's going to be, is it? I appreciate how confidently extroverted you are, and I do not at all find it exhausting. Jai says nothing, but her face breaks into an enigmatic smile. Alright, well, I mean, I guess if it's not actively extorting the crew, it's relatively harmless. Okay, I guess it can stay. I do wish it was centered in one of the squares instead of just haphazardly over them, but I guess it can stay. Right you are, Lord Kenton. Ravor stares morosely at the drawing and mutters, What's my bridge turning into? Yeah, I hear you, bud, but it's all relative. Ah, Shireen, I knew your soul would resonate with these great lines of verse. I will read you this poem one day, and you will say, By the Exalted One. It's about us. You know, I sincerely doubt that will be the case, but stranger things have certainly happened, and I guess who's to say what the future might hold? Oh, boy. Alright, let's, Right, I was going to talk to Dan Rock. Ah, right, so we can really kind of rub it in by asking him about sending gifts to Jai. We'll pass on that. And Jai?
You are spoiling me with the splendor of your presence again, Shireen. Have you decided to treat your soul to the fruits of my eloquence? Or do you wish to discuss business with the newly appointed owner of a Mercatum Tabula Officiale?
Jai's smile shines brighter than any star you have seen. Oh, good. So she also reprogrammed my servo skull, which I won't talk to her about yet because I haven't actually noticed, but, she is a lot.
Oh, I have no doubt you will.
Oh, I suppose that does give me a good excuse to actually equip one of these things. Or perhaps both? Can we do both? No, okay, so just one at a time, fair enough. Let's see what it's actually saying. nothing for the moment. Alright, fair enough. We'll, actually, let me go ahead and swap it out for the scribe. I like the design on the other one more. And, we'll let it follow us around for a bit.
I won't compromise my principles.
I will say, Jai is intriguing, but definitely not my type. She is way too, she's exhausting. I mean, I already said it once, and that is exactly what she is. She's not necessarily a bad person. I mean, she's an iconoclast, so she's got to have something going for her there. But she also kind of strikes me at... You know who she reminds me of is actually Octavia from Kingmaker. A character who, in theory, I should have liked, but despite her chaotic good alignment, she had a very inherently selfish and self-centered view of how the world revolved around her. That's definitely the same sort of vibe I'm getting from Jai. Though I guess in Octavia's case, it also didn't help that she came with the baggage of Ragongar, who was pretty unrepentantly evil. Anyway, one sec. Let me run some quick errands here, and then we'll push on. Oh. Shireen, if you find a spare minute on footfall when you are not deciding our lackluster fates, I would be delighted to see you at my Amarikar in the Amasekis. I'll tell Octi to set aside some decent wine in case you decide to grace our humble party with your luminous presence. Amarikar, I can't say I'm familiar with the term. Is that some kind of party, I guess? It is an occasion celebrated on my world, Afreet. It is the day when a person shows by their actions that they have reached maturity, that their spirit is ennobled. Among the African nobility, this day is considered more important than other symbolic events, such as the first cry or the day of repose. And by a wonderful coincidence, my Amarikar happens to fall on the day when I also wish to celebrate my acquisition of the Mercatum Tabula Officiale. Right, of course, and I'm sure it has nothing to do with being back in your old stomping grounds, where you can both celebrate and simultaneously show off in front of the colorful characters you previously worked with and against. Only my nearest and dearest are invited, people whose visage makes my heart sing, my eyes glisten, and my lips bloom with praises for the Exalted One. That's not to say that you won't encounter thieves or smugglers among them. They make up the majority, in fact. Well, it would be my pleasure to attend, Jai. What kind of partner would I be if I didn't? I'm sure it'll be very illuminating. The lowly regulars of the Amasekis will be telling their great-grandchildren about the time they had the honor of witnessing your dazzling visit to that unworthy dive, Shireen. That is, of course, if they live long enough to see their great-grandchildren. Uh-huh. Oh, interesting. She's already off our roster. That certainly implies that she might go missing had we not attended. See, the thing is, now that we know that that document is such a pivotal part of her newfound status, I'm just waiting for something to happen to it. At a celebration, perhaps, one attended notably by smugglers and thieves. Which, yeah, does seem to be reinforced by the fact that they spit us right out in the Martyr's Endurance. No choice as to where we wanted to go. We were dropped right into the midst of the festivities.
Is there money to be made?
Tremble, for the sword of the Emperor is coming. Balin von Valancius carries his punishment. And strikes his eternal enemies, the Eradicator of Chaos, the hero of Janus.
That seems pretty normal. We'll talk to Jai about it after the party. Seems like this is going to be another Jai episode regardless. Speaking of whom... also, real quick. Yes, I did end up equipping that new helmet on Yurliat. Just couldn't resist that extra plus 15 to awareness. But the chain is still sitting on the sideline, though I might do something with it when we have to tag Heinrichs in for Kiaba Gamma. Anyway. You easily spot Jai and the group crowded around the table. The extravagant luxury of her attire and her gleaming augment set her apart from the rest. Seeing you, she exclaims, "May the gravitational wells on your worlds never lack for grip, just as my heart never lacks for joy at the sight of rogue traitor von Valancius." With an approving chuckle, Octaviana mutters, "I can't believe you actually roped the rogue trader into coming to your party. If the rogue trader raises a toast to your health, I'll start to believe you're really a princess and not just a smuggler with the gift of gab. Please take a seat, your lordship." You know, I am just now realizing Octaviana has a very similar arm implant to Jai, mostly obscured in the portrait, but that is definitely the same shoulder piece. Jai's friends look exactly as you would expect, like hardened operators of the cold trade, arrayed in the forbidding but glitzy style common to those who like to skirt the limits of the law. One pair in particular catches your eye, a young man and woman, twins it seems, identical yet distinct from each other. The man has a lively face and a crazed look in his eye, while the woman is cold and calm, and seems slightly drowsy. Octaviana readily tops up the glasses on the table, playing the role of consummate host. But you notice that her and Jai's chairs are drawn slightly closer together than usual for a pair who seem connected only by superficial acquaintance. Right, yeah, I mean, there's definitely something going on there. Though, I mean, I suppose that's highlighted just by the fact that she even has a portrait to begin with. Something which only the most important characters in the story tend to have. It's also not just the arm. It also looks like they both had extensive throat reconstruction. That's just too much to be a coincidence. They clearly have some sort of shared traumatic background. They also clearly trust each other despite the act they put on in public. Sorry to keep you waiting. How fares the party? We've been laughing and celebrating life, Shireen, as true friends do. But until your arrival, we were but stars in a moonless sky, merely heralding your coming. Now, we are happy. I certainly can't say no to that kind of gracious invitation. I'll grab a chair. Octaviana draws out a bottle from under the table. The glass is as thick as your finger, and it is covered in wax seals. With no exaggeration, this is the finest amasec that has ever graced this bar. Jai personally acquired it, as she says, for a special occasion. It seems that you are the special occasion, your lordship. The crowd around the table falls silent, exchanging awkward looks. It would appear they are unaccustomed to drinking in the presence of lofty individuals such as you. A drink just for me, huh? That is not at all suspicious. But enough about me. We're not here to celebrate my presence. We're here for the woman of the hour. To Jai Haydari. The assembled group burst into approving cheers, and the bar fills with the sound of clinking glasses. The amasec tastes exorbitantly expensive, sweeping you into a kaleidoscope of flavors. Tart floral bitterness, honeyed sweetness, and then other, far more refined sensations that are nameless, owing to the small number who can afford to experience them. Bravo, Opti. This Amasek will do me very well. Very well indeed. Jai's self-satisfied reply elicits general laughter, and the tension at the table seems to loosen slightly. I am so suspicious right now, but I don't want to just walk away. Octaviana, so you and Jai are friends? Octaviana offers you an arch smile. Friends? She's my worst enemy, the vengeful spirit of retribution sent to punish me for my youthful transgressions. Mr. Saydari has a special gift for knocking me off balance and dragging me into difficulty. I would have barred her from the Amasekis long ago if it weren't for her habit of tossing money around like confetti, and of paying triple for anything she breaks. Do you see, Shireen? Do you see the petty, miserly, callous, unforgiving friends the Exalted One has sent me? Oh, they don't really seem that bad, all things considered. I mean, these two over here, they're the ones who helped you recover your cargo, right? The precious roses in the garden of my soul, and the golden little bees that bring honeyed riches to my treasure house. Yes, this is my crew of cold traitors. The two identical ones are the Trickster twins, my closest associates. Kor, our resident hothead, and his much wiser sister, Tora. Don't let her fool you, your lordship. She's only calling me a precious rose 'cause you're here. When it's just us, I'm lucky if I get that arsehole with a gun. Kor chuckles good-naturedly. Because you are the arsehole with a gun. If I dragged you out of as many scrapes as Jai has, that's not the name I'd be using for you. I can tell you that much. Kor's sister rolls her eyes. Pay no attention to him, your lordship. Kor has nobody to blame but himself for that nickname. Ooh, and who is this? Ah, the mysterious Falco. The man who has just approached the table is hideous by anyone's standards. A repulsive face, greasy hair, and bulging veins at his temples. His attempt at an amiable smile is so transparently false and off-putting that your fingers itch to reach for your weapon. With a surprised look askance at you, he says, Mr. Saydari, allow me to wish you a happy Amarikar. Master Mercy could not let such an occasion go unmarked. He sends his warm wishes. And a gift. The wearer of this cloak gains a plus 15 bonus to fellowship whenever there are no enemies in a 4-cell radius. Ooh, okay. Well, combat only, so of limited use, but still. Oh, Falco, I am much obliged and touched by your presence. May the fire in your hearth burn forever bright and hot like the stars of the Gremnor system. Tell Mercy that this show of his precious attention toward my humble self brought dew to my eyes and a song to my heart. Falco. I know that name. That's the guy who stole Jai's cargo in the first place, isn't it? The one I helped her recover? The very same. The greasy piece of grok shit, Octaviana says, wearing the sweetest, most amiable smile one could imagine. But the stars of the Gremnor system all died around 100,000 years ago, and the systems around them are a true breeding ground of death. And this Mercy? Can't say I've heard that name before. Someone I should know? Some big, mysterious figure in the mission. The Kaspalikas put him here to keep a handle on things and make sure the interests of the senior partners aren't forgotten. If anyone does become a bit forgetful, Mercy comes along, somebody dies, everyone else panics and empties their pockets. Right. Falco and Mercy aren't officially connected. Falco's just another prosperous mission agent like Jai and other people. But Falco's happy to do Mercy's dirty work for him, and that's why he gets preferential treatment. And is this dirty work? Or is it customary for Caspalican operatives to attend the parties of people they recently tried to ruin? After you got involved in their turf war, they all decided that a peaceful resolution would be for the best. This here's a symbolic confirmation of the ceasefire. That does make sense. Well, Falco, I'm glad to see there's no hard feelings. I see you brought a gift from the mysterious Master Mercy, but if there's truly no hard feelings, then I'm sure you brought something as well, right? Something a bit more personal and heartfelt? The smuggler stares at you unblinkingly with his pale eyes, saying nothing. Then he rearranges his mouth into a smile remarkable in its hideousness. Of course, your lordship. And this gift is from me personally, Mistress Haydari. Oh, pretty. Thanks, I'll never use it. Actually, I shouldn't say that. We do have a Death Cult assassin joining us shortly. As Falco turns away from the table, you see a snarl of feral hatred twist his already repulsive features. It seems about right. So even former foes bow before my fellow traitor. Truly, this is a day worth celebrating. And what better way to celebrate than with a game? With stakes, naturally. Today is my Amarikar, and that's what I want. Jai draws a stack of carved plasteel tiles from her pocket. They're decorated with symbols and fine mag lines. Holding the tiles in one hand and raising her glass with another, Jai asks, "What do you think, Shireen? Does the rogue trader have anything he's willing to wager?" You recognize the tiles in Jai's hand. It is a set for Tanto Low, a game popular among gamblers. Each player is dealt several tiles which can be arranged into a pattern of a specific value by carefully matching up the mag lines. Whoever has the highest value wins. Voidsmen love playing Tanto Low, which is usually won by luck or skill. I feel like we're about to get cheated, but, let's see what happens. Well, I certainly can't turn down a tantalizing offer like that. Let's play. Watch out for his lordship, lads. He was awfully quick to agree just now. I have a sneaking suspicion about how the rogue trader acquired all his countless riches. But I'll warn you now, playing for money is considered wrong on a Freet, because gaming is tempting fate. So instead, we're going to play for wishes. A pile of tiles is placed in front of you and the other players. Wishes, huh? Yeah, I'm sure those won't get out of hand. So tell me, my newfound friends, what were we talking about before I arrived? Business. My dear Tora, whose mind never strays from the chilly peaks of the mountains of money she's made, was telling me the latest cold trader news. Exciting times are upon us. We're not the only ones being tested for weak spots. Vladane's set on putting the Ultraquisitors out of business, and it looks like he's got Mercy's blessing to do it. The big beasts are picking off the small ones. I think things are only going to get more interesting from here on out. The Ultraquisitors, yeah, well, no, I guess I didn't actually end up hiring them, did I? I think we went with the Chem Princes? Wonder if it would have actually affected things if I had taken the Ultraquisitors under my wing. It would be cool to see some actual interplay between colony events and actual plot events. That means it's time for us to step up and become major players, eh? Kor winks at Jai. I know a couple of Chegnars from the Ultraquisitors. They're dry as you like. We could tell them to cool their heels with us. And there'll be more willing at the other altars. We could take on Falco, and even blow Vladame out the airlock too. Kor, my sweet, before you go chewing Faisaline with Chegnars, you need to clear the altar and hide the pulses. If Vladame's playing all the lines, he won't touch me, but I don't want to shift the risk onto you. There's chatter about the commission. The conversation quickly turns into an impenetrable mishmash of terms from the secret argot of cold traders. Which, as a former crime lord / cold trader, I feel like I would understand, but fair enough, I think we got the general gist there. You have been dealt a poor hand. You cannot make a high-value arrangement from the tiles. Sounds like a metaphor. Glancing at her tiles and grinning, Jai declares resolutely, I'm going to show my hand. The Exalted One loves me today. Oh, are you going to win? No way. Alright, well, I feel like this is pretty predetermined. We'll just go along with it. Chuckling, Jai tosses her tiles on the table. Her hand is significantly better than yours, or anyone else's. No way! What are the odds? And for my wish, I want everyone to drink to my good fortune. It has already granted me a gift fit for a queen. I'm talking about you, Shireen. May fortune continue to smile upon me. Everyone at the table eagerly raises their glasses. You join in before you even are aware you have done so. A new stack of tiles is already waiting for you on the table. You realize that moments have skipped past without your knowing. It seems the Amasek is somewhat stronger than you thought. Yeah, well, plying me with booze isn't going to get you anywhere. I've still got the computer brain. Now this one is definitely a good hand. One of the best you can get. When you look up, you see that everyone else apart from Jai has already tossed their tiles onto the table in disappointment. It's just us two left, Shireen. I'm going to show my hand. What a coincidence. I also will show my hand. The sight of your hand sets everyone at the table into a flurry of excitement. But then the chatter turns into a roar of triumph. Jai's hand is the most valuable in the game. Because of course it is. But we're not playing for money, so this is all just purely performative. I win again. What should I wish of you, Shireen? Oh, interesting. Putting the burden of deciding your prize on me, so it doesn't seem like you're asking for too much. You know, given our respective professions and your own predilections. A favor, perhaps? I feel like it's only a matter of time before you'll need me to come riding to your rescue. Much as when we first met. You promised to save me. What an exciting adventure that could turn out to be. It's almost worth getting into trouble for. I accept your stake. Tiles are dispersed around the table, forming piles in front of each player. You suddenly feel your body grow heavy. The treacherous Amasek is slowly robbing you of your clarity of thought and dexterity. My feeble flesh fails me, but my computer brain is eternal. Also, she's still definitely cheating, but that's fine. Again, we'll see where this is all going. Really, I'm just trying to figure out what her endgame is here. Your hand is not especially good or bad. It is the kind of hand played only by someone desperate, who has nothing left to bet. Before anyone says they're showing their hand, I'm announcing a condition, seeing as it's my Amarakar today. The only stake I'll play for is a dance. Okay, seems harmless enough. And we're definitely not going to embarrass ourselves by trying to win. Okay, let's dance. Oh. Glancing at your hand, Jai discards her own tiles face down. Mine are worse. Looks like you've won, Shireen. I'll be delighted to grant you a wish. Which you've already predetermined was an innocuous, harmless dance, right? so she obviously threw that round. The light plays on Jai's dark skin and glints off the silver augmetic on her throat. Moving with the grace of a sand snake, she holds your gaze and smiles mischievously. Her dark curls fall across her face, and you see the saucy glint in her eyes through her alluring curtain of hair. This dance is called the Dance of the Captive Revenian Girl. When the governor of Afrit Salimkin the Bright crushed the Revenian rebellion, the daughter of the rebel leader was brought to him, the beautiful Nyana. She danced for him, telling him of the struggle of her proud people, and then snatched a weapon from a guard's hand and aimed it at Salimkin. But the spark of love that had kindled between them that day stopped the Faisaline from igniting in the cartridge, and both Nyana and Salimkin lived through that day, and then many more days, which they spent together. That is quite a story, fraught with meaning, I'm sure. Well, folks, Lady Luck smiled upon me at last, won me a fine prize. I'd best be on my way, before she turns her back on me once more. Unlike Amasek, you can always trust Amasek. It always lies. Smiling sweetly, Jay presses your goblet into your hand. Her skin seems to glow from within, and the sparks of laughter in her eyes dance like flames. I'll drink to that. To Amasek's deceit. May the deceived not live to regret it. Ominous. Fog swaddles your mind in appealing ideas of other ways you can amuse yourself at this party. Surrendering to the maelstrom of chaotic thoughts, you let the all-pervading merriment determine your fate. Is that so? And what exactly will I be waking up to? I wonder. Feet. Thoughts tumble violently inside your head, periodically ricocheting off the inside of your skull and triggering bursts of piercing pain. Your tongue feels desiccated and shriveled in your mouth, and it scrapes painfully against your teeth. Light. Light is the enemy. Self-awareness returns unbidden, bringing with it an inexplicable sense of awkwardness. Your beleaguered body violently protests against the very idea of getting out of your soft bed. You hear a soft sigh beside you. Looking over, you see dark hair fanned out across your pillow. Jai, who's cozied up next to you, fast asleep, is fully dressed, just as you are. Or perhaps she is not asleep at all. Shireen, you certainly know how to have a good time. Do I? You struggle to piece together your fragmented memories of last night's carousing. For some reason, you can clearly recall the ingratiating looks of the wardens as they tried to persuade you to stop, the cries of the beggars to whom you gave an obscene amount of alms, and the stamping of the servitor that you rode around the station to Jai's unconcealed glee. What exactly did we do last night? I don't remember all of it. I think we shot at some people over their heads. Someone didn't offer us the required amount of respect. Then you said that flying a shuttle was easy and that you would bet your warrant that you could get us to the ship. We also stripped a man and burnt his clothes because the sight of them offended the Exalted One. I can still smell the singed fibers now. You can smell it too, and you feel slight burn marks on your fingers. You notice one more thing. Your lips feel rough and dry, like they've been nipped over and over by another's teeth. So shooting, flying, burning, giving people money. And how did we end up in bed together? I helped you get back to your quarters, and then I couldn't find the door to get out again. And you graciously gave up 35% of your bed for me. Yes, I think that's the number our haggling ended on. And that was it? We just fell into bed and went to sleep? Turning a remarkably fresh-looking face to you, Jai smirks. You don't remember anything at all, Shireen? Neither do I. All the better. What sweet and thrilling scenarios we can imagine to fill in the gaps. Uh-huh. Well, I have no reason to question your recollection of events, my clearly hungover friend. We'd best make ourselves presentable. I'm sorry to say you're right, Shireen. No matter how soft the bed or how pleasant the company, there is a line we must not cross. And I am perilously close to doing exactly that by getting a couple of bottles of delicious medicine for our aching heads. Oh, and done. Though I definitely feel like I should probably walk around the ship a bit and chat with everyone, see if anyone can help us perhaps fill in some gaps, both here on the ship and back on the station. Oh, hey, what's up, buddy? I guess I did end up recruiting you after all. Sort of. Not quite what I had in mind, but I guess better than nothing. The stuffed corpse of a sled, the bizarre Xeno beast that was once in the service of the Drukhari. Yeah, just as well. I mean, you did kill a lot of people. Man, so maybe I'm just overthinking it, but I am still trying to parse out exactly what Jai hoped to accomplish with that celebration. It really does feel like an Ocean's 11 style setup. Like I was the mark and she needed something from me, and she arranged it so that I would be pliable, but then also end up in a situation at the end of the night where I wouldn't question the weird things that were lingering in the aftermath. Burnt fingers, shooting at people, giving people money, flying a shuttle at one point. Like, I feel like it's obvious she wasn't really drunk. They made a point of noting she wasn't really sleeping and that her face was unusually fresh despite, supposedly being so drunk the night before she couldn't find a door. And of course, I think it's also pretty obvious she was cheating when we were playing Tanto Low, regularly plying us with drink every step of the way, a special drink, which she had been reserving for a guest like me. I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. I'm not really sure what to think just yet. I do find it very intriguing that, at least at the very end of the night, she made a point of not putting us in a more compromising position. Both the relative positioning of our bodies and the fact that we were fully clothed. Not to mention that bit about there being lines that we should not cross. Despite the fact that in many other instances, she has made no secret of her relationship with me when it gives her an advantage with others. That seems particularly noteworthy. That's it. We'll hit the pause button for now. I'll pop back over to the station, drop off that scan data, maybe ask around a bit, see if there's any highlights we should touch on next time round. And we will pick up here next time. I'll see you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible. including but not limited to Eerie B23, Revenant, Alois, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.